We are live. So, hi Nidal.
Hi, Rukas.
Welcome to, as I call it, OctoRadio, or maybe OctoCast. I don't know. We will see. And yeah, so what we are doing here is a member spotlight, and main idea is to share the members with the of a community so that we know what we are all here, what's our background, what the relationship with the Ropeflow are for all of us. So we can start from you. So if you can, just quick introduction about yourself, what you do in life, maybe how old are you, what's your background with movement, and so on.
All right. My name is Nidal Sinnuqrut. I live in Wiesbaden, Germany, and I work as a personal trainer for fitness and self defense. My educational background is a lot of functional training, things like TRX, ultimate sandbag, kettlebell training, the stick mobility, animal flow, and a couple of other functional training methods. Additional to that, I do also neuro athletic training, which is pretty new now. I'm still studying it. I have a couple of certification in this field, and it's additional to the physical training that I do. It's more the brain part of training, because as you know, the brain decides what we do. Everything we did in the past, it's a decision of the brain if he wants to do something or doesn't. And we enter these areas through our visual eyes, for example, or the inner ear, so for balance, for example, and a lot of more. And the other side is self-defense. So this is a part for itself, where I show people how to defend themselves. It's a mix of kickboxing, aikido, Wing Chun, Philippine martial arts, and some other combative techniques included to it all. So that's about me, and
Yeah,
go on. Yeah,
that's quite a big list of what you have been experiencing in your life. So how old are you, Nidal?
52.
52. Amazing. So you keep on learning, as I see. So that's
Yeah,
the most important part to stay young
yeah.
forever, basically. So uh, can you tell me how did you find out about Ropeflow?
The first time I saw someone who was dealing with a rope or doing some rope training was a friend called Steve Cotter. Probably you know him.
Yeah.
And I know whatever Steve touches or is doing, it's good. So I know. Then I knew there's something called the Weck method, and he's a friend of David Weck. And I asked him, where can I get the rope, etc. I would like to try it out. He said, yeah, you can order it there. And I said, okay, let me check it. So then I saw, it's to Germany. There are a lot of costs, shipping costs. It's too difficult. He got only one rope, kind of one rope. Um, and I said, okay, let me check if there's some other ways or other places where. So then I found out, Octomoves. I discovered your homepage. I made some researches and checked it out. I said, okay. Then I contact you. I remember on social media asking you about the different ropes. What's the difference? And you I must say, the way you are, you're very chilled, you are very kind, and that's one of the things that I appreciate and I like a lot. So I said, okay, let me get the rope. And since then, it went up. Yeah, with the time, it gets better and better. I have nearly every rope now. I think I have every rope. Yeah, and yeah, that's the story how I came to Ropeflow.
So, what is your relationship with the rope flow these days? Like how your
These
practice
days.
looks like, and maybe you have some goals that you're working on with the rope flow, or maybe it's not goal orientated. You play just having more play and fun time with it. Just yeah, you can elaborate on that. Your relationship with the rope flow.
Yeah, well, let me see. First, I started to discover the movements and I wanted to feel what the rope gives me. Is it true that I can improve shoulder mobility? Can I get my better movements in the spine? And the answer was with the time, yes, 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 I can. And additional to that, it's not only body, it's the brain too. So the brain needs to is challenged. So I need always to work body and mind. It's never, never, ever only body. That's how I see it. And I use it now, or these days, I use it like it could be different as a whole session for itself. Where say today I'm not working out, I'm not working with weights, I'm just having rope flow. It doesn't matter if it's a recovery day, it doesn't matter if it's with a heavier weight, 500 grams rope. So that's a whole session for itself. Or I use it as a warming up before I use weight training, especially when I have upper body training. I use rope flow before, not long, like 5 minutes, about. And
Like a
sometimes,
form. Yep.
yeah, and sometimes I put it at the end. So it loses after the workout for upper body or back exercise. It's a kind of mobility training to get the muscles a little bit looser. Um, Maybe something like it could be 10 minutes. Yeah, 5, 10 minutes. It depends how I feel. And so I use it in three ways as a warming up combined with weight training or as a whole all a method which is just rope flow. So it's for itself, a training method that have nothing to do with weight training or other things.
Do you let's talk about the last part that you've been speaking is the having the full rope flow session. Like the rest of it, like warming up, cooling down is kind of clear. Mixing up with the strength training for the rest periods that you just keep yourself occupied, it's also kind of clear. But how do you structure, if you structure it for the like wall rope flow session? How long usually it takes? And do you have any sort of structure what you doing there? So if you can elaborate.
Of course. Um, First of all, before I on the way to the field, if it's outdoor training or if it's in the indoor place, on the way there, I make some thinking about what I will do. And maybe I have goals of a new move, learning a new move. I go more in details, so I know. Okay, I will, for example, try the bowler or something else. I didn't know to do it before, so I put it first in my mind and go to the place and start actually with the basic moves as a warming up. That means the overhand matador, the underhand matador, dragon roll, overhand sneak, cheetah, all these basics I go through. When I feel the body is now warm, I began to go more into dynamic, more movements, and maybe add some new move if it's on my list at this day.
Yeah. So
Um,
does your do you time this patterning? Like how long do you spend with each one, or you just go with the flow and sensation? What you're feeling? Oh, it feels like I'm done with this. Let's transition to another one, and when you drill it for like
exactly,
a little bit of
exactly,
time that you feel like drilling, and you just keep moving until like okay, I feel kind of loose and really smooth in this move, so I can move to the next one, next one, next one until you reach that point where you want to do something more intense or try the new
exactly,
skill that you had in mind. Yeah.
exactly. That's the way I do it. I use more counting than time. So, for example, dragon roll, if I do on the to the right or east and west, if I do 10 there, 10 there. So I use numbers and not the time, because time is could be very and it could be very different from once to the another session, because someday you don't feel so good, so you have less time. So I go more with the feeling, and not with the time.
Mhm. Uh, do you feel any benefits in counting, like counting repetitions, what you're doing instead of using time?
Yes, as you know, we often have one good side and less other side, which is not so mobile or not so good in coordination, for example, or the mobility is not on the one side, not so good. Um, then I have a method where for example, if I know left side is not so good, I do 2 or 3 reps more than the other side. So it gets quite equal then to the right side with the time. You get the left nearly or the same quality as the right.
Mhm.
That's why I use more numbers.
So you're using is as like a balancing work to balancing out the imbalance
Yes,
of the body.
yes, 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 exactly, exactly, exactly.
All right. Okay. So I kind of have a more clear vision about your Ropeflow practice. Think it's good idea for the rest of the people also to know different ways how it people do. So you when you since you're coming with a training background and all the martial arts, self defense, personal training, and so I can see that you have this like more structured thing, so that you're structuring like a training session. There's also people like doing like a more like a dance and play way of training with the rope flow. Uh, do you play some music and play with the rope flow, or it's always more like a structured way for you to
I
doing it?
I have like 95% always music on my ears. I know it's maybe not always the best thing to have music on the ears, because music, I learned that before from Animal Flow, that it could change your movement in a way your movement looks at the end not so good. Because for example, if we have special movements and you have the wrong music, it will not look so good, for example. So music I can deal with music very good, so that's why I have it most of the time on my ears. And about if I use it, the kind of dancing, maybe there are people out there that are more dancers, like than me, because they have also a dancing background. You can see in a flow, if it's a body weight flow, or if even if it's a rope flow, you sometimes you can see the background of the person. So
Yeah.
if you, yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's easy to see the jump ropers. We have like certain style. There's
yes,
more
yes,
movement from the hands and the shoulders. We use at least of their spine. There's
yes,
like martial artists. You can see there's like a lot of feet involvement in their movement. Uh,
yes,
yeah, as well, like if some dancers, like I don't know what kind of dance they play, there's like a lot more of the hips over there. Like
yes,
you can always see
yes,
something, and like it's great. You can see a lot of different styles, and it's like oh, as well you can always see like somebody if they have like a steel mace flows or like using a clubs before. You also
exactly,
have like
exactly.
a certain unique style that is
Yeah,
only spotted on them. So yeah, I kind of have that
exactly.
eye for all so many, and it's actually a really cool thing to watch other people notice their style and try to mimic, because you can learn
Mhm.
a lot of things from other by just
Exactly.
mimicking things. That's how we learn
Yes,
in our childhood. We see what people in our environment do, and we are mimicking, and that's
yes,
like
yes,
our growth is from like mimicking stuff and trying to make it on our own. We kind of wired those neurons in our head by just watching and seeing things. So for those who really want to kind of improve the rope flow, watch watch a lot of flows and see, like, watch those really good flowers flowers or whatever you want to call
yes, yes,
ourselves.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and just try to pick up some certain elements of their style and just mimic it, trying to rebuild it. So it's really cool
it's
stuff to
it's
do it.
it's very
Yeah,
very
yeah,
yeah.
I
Sorry,
know that
it's very
the same kind of training thing we do, like for example in surfing or kite surfing or whatever. First of all, just make people watch so that we understand, starts to understand a little bit, and making creating some image in their head what the surfing is, what are capabilities of doing there on the waves, what how the body moves, and then you start building and teaching them from the beginning and like all the stuff and builds up. But it's always good to have some sort of imagine image in your head what you're going to, so like the end destination, but you will have so many steps to
yes,
take to reach
yes.
that.
It's very funny and weird because today I was thinking exactly about the mimic thing you mentioned when we used to be childs. I remember when I used to be a child or a teenager, we used to do break dancing. We didn't have any internet, social media. We were looking the old school break dance and mimic it and try to get this image, movement image in our head and do the same. Um, this I wanted to add it in my posting today when I add this new move that I learned today. Um, the thing is, I noticed when I ask people or when I ask some clients, they learn the basics and then they hit a kind of line where they stop learning and they have difficulties to learn new things. When I ask them what's about watching a video and making the same, some of them says that they have um, difficulty to get this picture and to adapt it and to make it by themselves. So maybe this is also a good point where we can work or help others how to adapt something easier and get it more practical to learn a new move and not getting stick on the basics, because 1 year basic, 2 years basic. So people and the brain wants always new things.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course,
that's that's why we layering things. That's why we add some complexity of the flips, the wraps. You're still doing the same pattern, but you're just adding some extra layer that creates more
exactly.
complexity, and that actually just like boosts up your brain power just to solve
Yeah.
these puzzles that you're creating for yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
this,
Yes.
this, this is the amazing thing. That's like even you in the beginning, you saw like that you're going in your practice with some kind of idea that you're going to do something that you'd never done. So it's amazing approach that when you entering with the state of mind to fail, because if you're going to learn, you know that you're going to be failing for so many times until you will achieve something. So this
Yes.
is really cool stuff. So
Yes.
uh, I want to move for the to the further to finalize our talk and to ask you to share one piece of the wisdom from the Ropeflow that you got, and that would be really beneficial for those who already learning or maybe just beginning. What you would be advising for them?
Well, if somebody's new, you mean if somebody's new
It
for
doesn't
new?
matter. Like somebody just starting, well, we already started. One piece of advice that you will give to them.
The piece of advice I would give is to have a solid, very important to have a solid base, a solid base of the basic movements, rope flow movements, because I notice often that people try to rush. Right, try to rush, make the moves, the basic moves, like kind of it looks like, and try to make the more fancy ones or the more difficult one. um, I say sometimes is less is more. I take a lot of time doing the basics, and as you know, professionals work on the basics. Yeah, they go up, 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 then is a stop, the return on the really basic moves, and that's for a reason. And um, to get better in the other movements, yeah, that's what's behind it. It's of course we need to learn new things, but my message is take your time, try to vary the basics, make some footwork, make work with the speed, yeah, slow and fast, things like that. um, Try to use moving the body from 180 360, with the same movement pattern or movement flow, rope flow movement you're doing. Try to play with that, and when you feel safe, and to say okay, now I go to the next one. So that's my message.
Yes. It actually really reminds me the that Bruce Lee quote that he said, like, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So this is kind of practicing the basics for quite a while. And if
Yeah,
you're so good at that one move that you're feeling so comfortable, you can create so many variations of it, and it never gets boring because with each repetition you must learn more, something new. That's the way to mastery of the same uh, whatever you're actually doing. Like you just
yes,
every time you're doing, you can learn something new, even if it looks kind of the same, but it's not the same. There's always some sort of stuff that you can learn. And
exactly.
yeah, I also agree with that. I always for the neuro flowers kind of say like just spend more time on the simple basics. If we do like an intro session, yeah, we kind of go through probably 3-4 patterns. We spend more on figure eight, just trying to get it, but you kind of go through all of them. It's nice to learn, but when you go back and you're trying to polish it, in my idea, you should be able to do single pattern for at least 5 minutes without failing. That's when you kind of have kind of decent proficiency of it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so thank you, Nidal. That was wonderful to talk and to pick your mind a little bit. And it's nice to hear your story with the Ropeflow and your tips and tricks. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.